upgrade to Windows 10. Like,
that might be good if it actually, like, then you might notice it happening. Because, like, then you wouldn't turn around and be like, oh, my computer's updating.
No, it would narrate while you just stood there helplessly, and it wouldn't allow you to do anything.
I need a bottle opener.
Oh.
Bottle.
See, I took my wife's car today, but really she also has a bottle opener on her keychain.
Well, aren't you just the perfect couple?
Wait, you do need one or you don't need one?
I do need or don't need what? Wow, look how sharp and clear it is in 60 frames per second.
Man, it looks like yeah, it looks
with the bit rate updated this time.
Look at how sharp
Remind me, by the way, to update the bit rate for my half. I don't think I did that. Twitch should be good.
Yes. Why, thank
Twitch,
you.
we're giving Twitch a little bit more, some more bits this time, and we're also giving YouTube more bits this time. So, hope you guys like those extra bits. Welcome to Awesome Hardware, though.
It's so weird.
What?
It's so weird just watching us in 60 FPS on Twitch. Like, I'm not used to it.
And at not. We were last time we were here 2 weeks ago. We were streaming to Twitch at 60 frames per second. I think 1080. I think we streamed 1080 to Twitch, and it was at 1200 megabits, which
not
was
quite doing it justice.
Which is pretty horrible.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes.
Good times.
I should probably intro the show.
You should.
Now that we're streaming to both YouTube
you could.
and Twitch.
Option.
Yes, I will choose to do that. Welcome to Awesome Hardware, episode 114, Side A.
That's a Baker's.
A Baker's, no. 13. No, I thought of 1 or 13 is a Baker's dozen, right?
Yeah, but that's when you're. It's.
So this is like a Baker's dozen.
Just ignore me. Ignore me.
So would 14 technically be a Baker's dozen?
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Oh, you were doing the Inception
Cut
thing.
me off.
Sorry.
It's cool.
Sorry. I figured it out as I was saying it. Okay.
You really didn't. I didn't have anywhere to go with that. I was glad that you interrupted.
Yep.
Because
made sense.
Anyway.
So this is a live show that Paul and I do every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, right here on twitch.tv/awesomehardware, or you can watch the show live on our YouTube channels. We actually split the show up there in two halves. The first half this week is on my channel, which is youtube.com/c/bitwit, and Paul's channel.
You just say Bitwit.
Because that's not a URL. That doesn't take you anywhere.
You're telling people exactly where to go.
Yes, the C is the new format, the newer format that YouTube implemented about a year ago.
I feel like you gave kind of a politician's pause there. My channel is youtube.com/c/.
We don't talk about my YouTube channel name because no one knows what it really is. But you can.
You haven't changed it in a while.
That's true. That's true. I'm like at least 8 months strong, which is the longest streak I've ever had for not changing my YouTube channel name. And then at some point we're gonna cut on YouTube and we're gonna go over to Paul's half on Paul's Hardware. But it's a great show. We technically like to do tech news sometimes. Other times we talk about just random shenanigans,
random nonsense.
Have some fun. We also like to have a tasty adult beverage once in a while. So if you're of legal drinking age, then you're more than welcome to join us. And we sometimes swear, use profane words, but only when it's meaningful and in tasteful.
So we have to prove a point.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully you're okay with that. If not, then maybe kill the little ones. I mean, don't kill them. Hide them away. I don't know why I said kill them. Why was the first thing that came to my mind murder? I don't understand.
That's not a good solution
at
all.
No, it's not.
They might hear bad words. Quick, kill them. That's very
extreme. You have a whole other problem on your hands if you do that.
I hope no one takes this show very seriously.
I hope so too.
It's bad. That's also good advice if you're watching this show.
Start drinking alcohol now. Yeah. Not hopefully you weren't already drunk when I said that statement. All right. Graceful intro. Let's move on to plugging our stores. We are selling merchandise in both of our stores. My store is bitwit.tech/store.
You got fidget spinners?
I got.
What the hell?
I'm now selling fidget spinners.
You dick.
This is probably a one-time
what a dick
thing. There's only 100 of them, and once they're gone, once they're all sold out, I probably will not be restocking them. So they're limited edition.
These ball bearings look suspect.
So I've seen fidget spinners that are fully metal, whereas this housing is plastic.
Oh, okay.
So some will write that off as lower quality. But I will say the plastic construction makes them lighter weight and easier to spin. When I first got a sample, I was like, I don't really like this, but Wifey Sauce immediately was like, I like this better than your high-quality metal one because it's just easier for her to spin. It seems more tactile for whatever reason to her. So, I mean, everyone's got their own preference on fidget spinners. I don't even know why we're giving this any thought.
That is one way to spin it.
But there they are, black fidget spinners. They're color neutral. They match with any RGB configuration you might throw at it. It's fantastic. And there's a bunch of other stuff on the store too.
Great salesperson.
Yep. Paul's Hardware. Paul's store is.
I have nothing new.
Paul'sHardware.net.
Just the same old crap.
Yep.
On my store.
Yes.
Zero Insertion Force shirt, I think, should be making a comeback now that Ryzen is gaining steam and popularity and everything.
Get that ZIF socket.
You got a ZIF socket.
Love.
You got a ZIF socket.
Got a
processor.
Represent it.
Get a Zero Insertion Force shirt.
I agree.
Anyway,
I agree.
If you buy stuff, we'll yell your name at the end of the show.
Yep.
If you buy from both of our stores at the same time, that'll ship together. You'll get a refund on part of your shipping. Oh no,
that doesn't happen anymore.
That doesn't.
So our T-shirt guy,
new.
Our supplier changed things so that domestic shipping is much cheaper than it used to be.
Oh, cool.
Which we had a lot of complaints about. So hopefully that's fine now. However, that also negates or cancels out the shipping discount that you originally received in the past. That's no longer a thing. Now just the flat rate for shipping is much cheaper than it used to be. I guess it's not a flat rate. It's probably based on like weight and stuff. But yeah, shipping should be much better than it used to be. As far as international shipping, I think that's still ludicrously expensive.
Still
so
sucks.
if you're out of the country and you're still buying something from our stores, we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, we understand having to pay double the price of the actual product sucks a lot.
Indeed. So I guess we can roll into our first segment, but before we do, a quick beer call.
Oh yeah,
I suppose. I just finished, or I'm about to finish killing off this Ellie's Brown Ale from Avery Brewing. It's fantastic brown. Thank you, Paul, for supplying it.
Of course. I am drinking and have been drinking and will be continuing to drink this Bootlegger's Golden Chaos, which is a local beer from just over the hill here in Fullerton, California. Bootlegger's Brewery. It's a Belgian ale, and it is quite delicious.
Yeah, I like that one. Paul has also gifted me this 22-ounce bottle of Ruin 10 Triple IPA from Stone.
Yes.
It's a 10%er. Holy moly.
Kyle wanted a good IPA, and since I don't drink many IPAs, not because I hate IPA, just they're not my favorite. I found these Stone ones there, and they all had 10 in the name, and it's because they're all 10% alcohol, actually 10.8%. So when we get to my half of the show, Kyle's going to be really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, more annoying than I already am, so guys, brace yourselves.
I feel like I phrased that negatively. I don't want to say annoying. Boisterous.
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 Yeah. It's used a word people
that's a good word.
Quite know actually means annoying.
Boisterous doesn't always mean annoying.
It's just as mean to say boisterous. It's just not quite as clear to.
No, it's not. Boisterous means like
bad vocabulary.
Ebullient. Like I don't know. Is that even a correct word? All right, what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about, first, for starters, we're doing To Fund or Not To Fund, where we take a look at a couple crowdfunded campaigns on popular websites like Indiegogo.com or Kickstarter. The first of which, I think we're doing a mechanical, or not a mechanical, but just a keyboard roundup here. We're doing the first two are keyboards, so I thought there's sort of a theme here. I couldn't find the third keyboard, so the third one's not a keyboard. But the first two are.
Almost had the theming bonus.
Almost had the theming bonus.
Not quite.
So close. Maybe next week. So this is the ASIO, or ASIO, I don't know how to pronounce it, Industry First Luxury Vintage Keyboard. Remember, everything on every crowdfunded campaign is a world's first something. Bear that in mind. So this has already been funded, $63,000 of its $10,000 goal. Which is
leather's sexy.
Pretty good. Still has 2 weeks to go, and it's well over its goal. It's a typewriter-inspired mechanical keyboard with some very modern music. I was surprised watching this video.
Bluetooth option.
Has a wired or Bluetooth option, so that's kind of cool. They've given you some options there. I'd be curious to see how the wireless plays out. Wireless and mechanical keyboards generally aren't a great mix. There's usually some sort of issue there, but hopefully this one performs better. The switches that it's actually using are Kale blue switches, which might be a deal breaker for some. I've personally...
They're not terrible.
I've used Kales in the past, and they're not my favorite. I prefer Cherry MX when I have it.
If you're used to Cherry switches, you'll notice them. If you're not, and you're upgrading to like a nice mechanical switch for the first time, I think like you wouldn't.
And it's also it's also one of those things where kill switches aren't necessarily bad when you're coming from Cherry MX. They're just different. Yeah. And I feel like if you just give them a chance and actually allow yourself some time to get used to them, they won't feel that disgusting at first, like, you know, despite what your first impressions might be coming straight from Cherry MX. But that being said, the super early birds are currently sold out for $95. The early adopter special is still available, however, for $120 for the wired version and $140 for the Bluetooth keyboard. If the Bluetooth is solid and it's like there's like no latency or virtually no perceptible latency, and it's just solid connectivity despite a bunch of, like, you know, wireless signals going around in your house and stuff, I think that's a pretty decent deal, especially for something this unique. Kind of makes me want, it's like, remember like back in the day, or even now, like you get like some really cool sort of unique parts. It's like a smaller part, let's say a CPU cooler, and you're like, well, now I gotta just build a system with that theme around this one little tiny stupid part. It's like, that could be, this is like the gateway into making like a ridiculously awesome steampunk modded system, right? It's like you have the perfect mechanical keyboard to fit it now, and so now it just makes me want to just bend some copper pipes, make a fucking steampunk machine.
Classic Posh has kind of a rose gold vibe to me, which
classic Posh,
which I don't like quite as much.
Yeah.
The classic Onyx. How do you pronounce Onyx?
Onyx. Onyx.
I always want to say Oinks, like a
pig.
Classic Oinks.
That's a Pokemon name. Onyx.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the classic artisan, I think, appealed to me a little bit more. Yeah. I mean, that's not a terrible price for a mechanical switch keyboard.
No.
Granted, if you're looking at kill switches, you can get something significantly cheaper than this, but obviously they're going for the styling, you know, the leather on there and everything.
Yeah, there's leather on it. It's got genuine materials and a zinc alloy frame. Zinc alloy frame. Round keycaps.
Radioactive.
I didn't catch if the keycaps were MX stems, but I would imagine they would be.
Maybe. Maybe not. They look. It looks like potential.
It's like, even if they were, though, why would you want to swap any of those keycaps?
I would say, if I had to guess, I'd say probably yes, because if you're getting the Kale switches, I think that's just what they come as far as a stem with.
Right.
So you would want to go out of your way to customize that.
Indeed. By the way, Manny, thank you very much for your donation. I see it. I see all your donations. We're going to read all the comments you attach to those said donations at the end of each half of the show. So rest assured, you will be heard. So just keep throwing us money. We love money. White Fox mechanical keyboard is up next. The White Fox. Have you seen this keyboard? Have you heard of it?
I have not.
Have you held it?
Sounds like an international spy.
Have you dreamed of it?
White Fox.
White Fox. It is.
White Fox has been compromised. Right?
Operation White Fox is a go. Yeah. No, absolutely. Definitely some code words going on here. But get this. It had a $100,000 goal, which is pretty steep. That's a lot of money for a mechanical keyboard project like this.
It's also a candy bar.
And it met 370,000, well over a third of $1 million has been met. It's fully programmable.
Well, look at that little Fox keycap.
I know, it's adorable.
Wait.
Oh,
I'm buying it. I'm buying it just
little for Foxy.
That's so cute.
That's adorable. They should at least sell the keycaps individually.
I'm surprised they haven't hit 1 million.
Right?
To be honest.
That little Fox does it all, and it's PBT.
Oh.
And it's a PBT cute Fox keycap.
Oh, well, cool.
And Matteo Spinelli made it.
He looks nice.
He's a keyboard designer.
He's got kind of a...
I only trust him to make my keyboards.
I'm a great judge of character.
Yeah, just right off the bat.
And I've been... That's not at all because I've been watching Game of Thrones and I keep hearing Tyrion say that, but he looks like an earnest, honest person.
He does. And the shot's well lit, so I trust them.
It is. And look at that hat. Although I'm not sure if the hat is the best idea.
The hat's probably not his. It's probably a friend's that he is letting his friend with a weird hat stay over at his house because he has nowhere to live, which further proves he's such a nice guy that you should definitely buy any keyboards he makes.
It does add some depth to the shot.
Absolutely.
Look, origami. Look, it's a little origami fox.
I know,
there's just
adorable.
no.
This is how you do a freaking Kickstarter video,
lots of
people.
Cute foxes.
So many cute foxes. USB Type-C connector, isn't that amazing?
It's also now a female. What?
USB Type-C connector.
Oh, good. That's very good.
Way better than any sort of mini or micro option that you'd have.
Yeah, Type-C everything.
They've all worn out for me. All of my keyboards that don't have a routing channel or a cable routing channel or whatever have all worn out their mini or micro USB ports in some way or fucked up the cable just because they're not meant to sustain that sort of weight A phone's fine. A giant-ass keyboard is not. I say giant-ass, but that's with a grain of salt. This is clearly a compact option. The switches, however, are custom in-house Halo switches. They're calling them Halo switches, which are smooth, tactile, and become firmer the harder you press them. That's the Halo True switches, and they have Halo Clears, which are pretty much the same as the Halo Trues, but with the a spring weight that's closer to Cherry MX Clear.
Okay.
And then they have Kahua. Have you ever heard of this switch? Kahua? It looks like kale, but it's Kahua. Blue. Kahua Blues.
Not familiar with Kahua.
It's not in-house, but it's available as an option. It features a tactile bump and click. This is a $159 keyboard with no switches. So if you wanted the DIY kit that has no switches and you just wanted to, add your own MX Stem switches that you got off of Massdrop or whatever, some eBay reseller.
I want to say Kaiwa.
Kaiwa, like Huawei.
Like Huawei.
I'm getting like Huawei.
If the Hua, if HUA is like Huawei, then Kaiwa, I think might.
I think we need to call upon the powers
give
of.
It a little texture.
We need to call upon the powers of TV Chow to help us out with this pronunciation.
TV Chow probably knows.
Debacle.
But he won't tell us.
TV Chow, let us know. How do you pronounce it?
He's like the guy on TeamSpeak who's like, I don't have a mic.
I have a no marker. So $169. It's pretty steep. $170 bucks.
But nobody hears him.
$170 for the Halo or Kahua switches. It's more expensive than the typewriter keyboard for sure, but maybe a little bit higher quality or just a bit more mainstream. Who knows? And then finally we have the iSpin S. I felt like this was just. I had to talk about this since I announced the fidget spinners being sold on the site.
Oh, look at this!
This is the most innovative fidget spinner ever.
You can take it apart.
No, you can't.
You can customize the.
No, it doesn't even do that. You can't even customize it. It's just showing you how it's built. But it spins horizontally and vertically. Look at the way it's spinning. It spins, and all of those 6 heads or whatever, they all spin. And it can spin apparently up to 5 minutes. 5 minute horizontal spin time. Look at how long that spins. And it spins up to 2 minutes.
That's amazing.
Going that way. Like, the bearings are sick, bro.
Sick bearings.
It's using sick bearings. It's using 7 sick bearings and 28 sick CNC machined parts. Look at this guy. Look how much fun he's having.
And look, you can like strip it down to be a mini spinner.
So if you only wanted like 3 of them on there or 2 of them on there,
or like if you're going somewhere with a metal detector, but it only detects objects that are a certain size, and you want to
shrink it down
in with your spinner.
Yep.
Assuming they're not letting people in with spinners.
That's true.
Very common.
That's very true. It's great for like no fidget spinner zones where they don't allow them, because you could just disassemble it and be like, no, it's just a bunch of random CNC machined parts that I carry around for no reason. And then you put it together later.
I've used a fidget spinner like twice now.
Yeah.
But I'm immediately like a connoisseur of the bearings that they use, because when the bearings are crappy, it's the spinner is crappy.
Yeah.
But that's as far as I've gotten with fidget spinners.
It's weird. Like, it's one of those weird things that sort of grows on you, I think.
$253,000 they've raised for this thing.
Yep, over $250,000 for a frickin' fidget spinner. It's insane. $29 too. And they're charging $29 for the early bird. $30 for a fidget spinner.
Damn.
Mine are $9.99.
But I mean,
buy 3 of mine.
But when you look at
tape them together,
when you look at the different ways it spins, it's like buying 3 or more different spinners, because it spins in different directions.
No, I'm not buying that.
It's like 3 in 1.
I'm not buying that in a literal and figurative way. $1,700, you get 100 pieces.
I kind of want to order one of these.
I'm gonna
order the 100-piece buy-in. And brand them with Paul's Hardware. Put them on sell them on my store.
You'll have to sell them for like $50 a pop.
Don't buy Kyle's shitty fidget spinner. Buy my fidget spinner.
Spend $50
it's way better
on this thing you'll use for 1 hour.
But I mean, it's the last one you'd ever need, though. That's why.
Well, you know what, Paul? I think we just have to get our hands on one eventually and figure out if that's the case. But until then, I don't know. Which of these 3 to fund or not to fund items tickled your fancy the most?
I think the White Fox is probably the one that stood out. I mean, just as if I had to choose one of these, the White Fox, because I mean, fidget spinners ultimately, let's be honest, they're stupid. And
unless you're buying Bitwit branded ones, those are awesome. Because,
except for those. Sorry, fidget spinners are awesome. Everyone should buy them.
Supporting your favorite YouTuber.
They're very useful. They contribute a ton to society, and they don't. I don't know. I shouldn't talk trash on fidget spinners because if I had like a kid with like a hyper kid or something,
yeah,
and you could just give it to them, and then they're just sitting there.
Or they're really popular with like kids with autism. Like they're supposed to just like sort of mellow them out and just like.
See, it's like, I shouldn't be. You're right. I've learned something today.
It's like it's like a version of like a joint. Like if you were like relaxing, having a hard day smoking a joint, and someone just like flicked it out of your head, like joints are stupid. Joints are just a fad. You'd be like, dude, this is chilling me out, bro. Just let me smoke my joint. It's like let me spin my spinner.
That's how that would go.
I mean joint as in like, you know,
marijuana.
That's exactly what I mean. Yeah.
We are in California after all.
We are, indeed.
Fuck around.
We're automatically potheads.
All right.
Let's move on to our next segment, which is Pimp My PC.
Pimp My PC.
Woo! Yeah, Pimp My PC. Here we go.
You guys have PCs. We are pimping them.
We're pimping them.
Bringing them onto the street, selling them to Johns to be taken into dark alleys.
Johns?
Yes.
Pimps?
No, the Johns are what they take the PC would be the prostitute in this analogy. Go and have intercourse with them.
Oh, the Johns, right. The Johns are the clients. Yep,
yeah, that's the client.
Yep.
Dark alley, cheap hotel room, depending how high class the PC is, of course. That's what this is all about. Determining how much money we can sell sex with your PC for. Let's get started.
I wonder if they call them Johns because after they have sex with the prostitutes, they yell, Johnson! I mean, what if, though? It could happen.
If they're ballers, that's what they do.
All right, Jacob. Jingleheimer-Schmidt.
And Nizix H440.
That's NZXT, Paul.
I know, I like saying...
It's a company of a brand. They make cases and things.
I like saying Nizix.
It's very popular.
An H440, though, by NZXT, a very good case. I have one right behind me to the right. 6600K at 4.3 gigahertz. Kraken. I'm sorry.
I feel bad. I feel bad for whoever has the Twitter handle 4 because they just got tagged in this.
They have 56.5 thousand followers and they've tweeted 8 times. Who are they following? Who is 4 following?
5. 4's following. No, 3. Technically, 4's following 3. It's just following 3. Someone thought of that. Someone thought of that and fucking did it. Oh my god! Please tell me. Please tell me.
You have to be logged in. You can check it on yours. I'm not logged in.
I'm so sorry. We're getting so sidetracked, but I don't apologize at all.
I'm very curious to find that out, though.
Come on out.
All right, Saber2 Z170 motherboard, a GTX 970 2.5 terabyte hard drive by WD. 16 gigs of G.Skill Ripjaws DDR4 and a Corsair 650 watt power supply, I presume. All right, are they following?
Following United.
They're following United.
United Airlines.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't.
What are their 8 tweets? Are there 8 tweets all bitching about United? How did they join in 2012? That doesn't make sense.
They have one tweet about United.
Couldn't find a good profile picture.
People say I own this account and never use it. That's not true. And the last one was in April 11th, I guess, of this year.
Yeah, so not too long.
But then before that, it was the last tweet before that was 2015. He said I never use this account, and that's not true. I use this account, and then he didn't tweet for 2 years. What a liar!
Hey.
I'm gonna follow him. Everyone go follow 4. Everyone go follow @4 on Twitter. Just follow the shit out of him. We're gonna revive.
We're gonna change things. This is gonna make a difference.
We're gonna defibrillate the fuck out of this Twitter account.
Yeah, we need to bring him out of his shell, get him socializing again. He could be, what if he's like a hermit? He's sitting there.
Yeah. We're breaking the depression cycle. For number 4.
We're helping people.
Getting them out there.
That's what the show's all about.
Raid.
All right.
Twitter raid. All right.
Let me remind you.
Let's focus.
We are attempting to make a sushi place.
Yes.
That closes.
Correct.
At a specific time.
All right. So what did
just throw on this?
You're right. Okay, all right. Okay. Focus time. Here we go. All right.
Jacob, I like your cable management. Your build looks nice. It's tight. I think you did a good job with what you got going on here. You got that X62 in there. Yeah, you're fine with the 6600K. I would look around and see if you can find a cheap 7700K or 6700K. I mean, just to see if you can find one. just to match up a little bit more nicely with that CPU cooler. But actually, no, I take that back.
Well, I don't know.
What you really need is an SSD. You don't have an SSD in here. You should get one.
Oh yeah.
And of course, you got the ketchup and mustard cables going on, which we always say could use a cable extension. But yeah, you got a nice build in here. I'm sure you do a great job if you're gaming at 1080, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've even gamed at 1440 just on some games, you know, high settings with a
GTX
970.
970.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a solid card.
Next up is Damian Ford. He has an FX 6300 build, so going a little old school AMD path here. 16 gigs of DDR3, a Samsung 250 gig SSD, 1 terabyte, 2.5 inch hard drives. Oh yeah, he's got some notebook drives in there.
That's a nice little entry level build for sure. It looks pretty clean.
Yeah.
Like cable management's on point.
Certainly.
I mean, other than like the hideous ketchup and mustard 24 pin. I mean, if you just found an extension for that.
So here's. All right. This obviously carries less weight now, but you have an RX 480 in there. You should have sold that like 2 weeks ago. and upgraded everything else in your system.
Down. Yeah.
And bought. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Then you'd have no video card though.
You'd have no video card. You're right. I feel like you could have done some bartering, some trading around though.
You have to get creative.
And you could have traded up with that RX 480. It's less valid now because the prices are dropping for those.
Right.
But
I know what you mean. He could have probably for the price for what he would have sold that RX 480 for, he probably could have gotten like a Ryzen CPU and motherboard.
Yeah, I mean, if you did it at the right time, you could have jumped from a 480 to a 1070 and just done a straight GPU upgrade.
Yeah.
Straight across. But you had to, again, I mean, obviously this is retrospect and all.
Yeah.
But yeah, your cable management looks really nice. Given that you're using kind of a budget power supply and everything's really clean. Again, you got the ketchup and mustard cables to worry about, but I would say you're looking at like upgrading your CPU cooler first before you go at upgrading something like getting sleeved extension cables.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that cooler is pretty atrocious. It can get really noisy.
Yeah, but honestly, what I would say is, keep your eye out for certain Ryzen path upgrades that you might have in the future. Obviously, you got an AMD system, and if you're down for the AMD people, you might have a very nice upgrade to the 6300 coming at you pretty soon.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Ryzen 3 bitches. Next up, we've got the Magemeister. With an FX 6300 as well at 4 gigahertz, an RX 480 as well. Very similar system to the one we just looked at. 1 terabyte, a 7200K.
7200 RPM hard drive. I believe was what he was talking about.
Yeah. And then we've got 500 gig. Okay. So I think color clashing is happening to some degree. Just the red and blue. It's interesting that you've got blue SATA cables in there.
Yeah, the blue SATA cables here definitely stand out and don't blend with your color scheme much. So, I don't know, swapping those out and redoing your cable management might be a way to tidy things up in here a little bit if you're concerned about your aesthetics. Obviously, though, we can't also see your entire system. We don't know what kind of side panel you're working with here. So if you don't have a window on your side panel, then you probably don't care quite as much.
But if he made the submission to us, then he has
you
some
must
interest.
care. You must care at least a little bit. That, or you're just seeking fame, the fame and recognition that comes with being featured on PIMP, which obviously has a very significant monetary value.
Oh yeah. Magemeister just retired.
Magemeister is just going out of business.
So
all right.
I think a new case would be good.
Yeah.
It looks like your drives are a little cramped there. I mean, bravo for efficiency, just being able to cram those 2.5 inch hard drives and that 3.5 inch there, just all in that little space there. It's really kind of compact and well done, but
right down here.
I feel like there just might be some other cases out there for not very much money, some nice budget cases that would just give you a lot more room for all the drives that you have. And at that point, just upgrade your whole platform as a whole, I would say. Kind of like the last guy, See what Ryzen upgrade paths are available to you. You can get in on Ryzen for pretty cheap right now.
Or soon.
Yes, very soon. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say.
Good, good.
Good.
All right, let's move on.
Thanks, Mage.
Thanks,
Next up,
Mage.
we have Joseph.
I closed it.
Joseph!
I closed Joseph's tab.
Joseph has a... Oh.
No, he doesn't.
So you can't... Oh, because I see.
Hold
you don't
on.
reveal our stuff or info. You can't see our show doc.
It's not that big of a deal, but...
Yes, it is.
Let's just...
We can't show him our hands. So Joseph's got a Core i5 3450, an RX 460. So this is pretty much a budget build, more or less. 12 gigs of DDR3, 500 gig hard drive, and 240 gig SSD. And this is inside of the Antec VSK 4000E. Pretty budget case as well. So it's difficult to tell people to...
Well, hold on. Let's start off by taking a quick gander at the side panel here. I'm assuming you hadn't noticed this?
No.
This wasn't part of the reason?
I did not. I did not even notice that. I
Is this even...
pulled these submissions really quickly.
Is this... This doesn't even look like the original side panel of the case. This looks like a sheet of scrap metal or something like that.
And he just tapes it on?
That was cut. It also looks like there's just a hole here.
There's no window. There's actually no
Right?
glass or
Yeah, it's
or
just
acrylic?
It's just looks like kind of a rough cut with a jigsaw or something like that out of the metal.
maybe it's a work in progress.
And I can't imagine why it would be lying there unless it's used as the side panel of the case, right? Like
He just literally folded it down so he could take a picture.
yeah, why else is that lying there like that? And it's the width of the gap you'd look inside the case. So that's interesting. That's all I'm saying is that's interesting right there. Okay, so other than that, cable management is not so tidy. We could use some, take all this mess at the top and tie it up so it goes straight over into your 5 1/4 inch drive cages over here. Put any extra excess you have, tie it up over there.
Yeah.
Figure out something to do with this mess you got coming up from the drives.
Or just get a new case.
Or just get a new case. Yeah, I mean,
Like just off the top of my head.
This screw doesn't look like it's stuck there either. I don't think for whatever drive that's holding in. All right.
Like you can get a case, a decent case for like $50. Like the Focus G from Fractal that just came out, $50, and it has a large acrylic window where you would not have to resort to, just doing it yourself type of thing. Like it looks like you've done here.
And your core components. I mean, for some reason it looks like your motherboard's blue. I don't know what the heck's going on with that.
Yeah, it definitely looks blue.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, but your core components aren't terrible looking down here. I mean, if you swap those into a case that had a painted interior and looked a little bit better, like that would, and you managed up the cables, it would greatly improve the overall appearance.
Yeah.
I hope you get rid of this.
What's
this also looks dangerous. Are you gonna cut yourself?
Yeah.
There's
probably
slip and
blood.
fall.
Too much blood.
You catch your hand right on that edge right there.
What's up with the power supply? Why does it look like
smart? It's a smart power supply.
Yeah, but what's that residue on it? Or is that just like a glare thing? No,
I think that's part of the. That's part of the graphic. I think, because it ends, because it just stops right here. If it was a stain coming down, it would continue over this part of the.
And it's like power supplies aren't reflective at all, like especially those kind.
I mean, it's also there's no brand here or anything. Like I've never heard of Smart 650. It's 80+ gold.
You're saying it's fake?
Is that might even?
You're saying it's a
I think
fake
it's gold.
Power supply?
No, I'm just saying it's a very generic, like not a very well known brand power supply. So I can't imagine it being, super high end or anything like that.
Yeah.
The cables aren't terrible, but anyway, obviously the system could use a bit of work, but I'd say the number one advice would be get a new case.
Yeah.
Invest in a case. Spend $50 to $70 on a new case that you can use for a while. It'll fit your stuff.
I agree.
That'll be nice. All right, we got one
finally,
more.
We've got Young 50.
Young 50.
Young 50.
Oh, an FX8350 build.
Yep, with a Hyper 212, GTX 1070 from Asus, and 8 gigs of DDR3. All right. He lost the side panels, he says.
Lost the side panels?
How do you lose side panels?
I don't know.
I don't know. But,
that must have been what happened to the last dude, too.
Yeah.
But, well... Yeah. Hey, I will say Fifi, young Fifi. Look what happened to our last entry here on Pimp My PC. He lost his side panel.
Yeah.
He improvised. He did something. He did something about it.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
Although I don't think even if this guy had his side panels still, that he'd be able to fit them on with all the entrails of cables hanging out of his case.
Floating around
Fiffy, what's going on, man? You need us to call someone for you?
It seems like a lack of caring. The case is also down on the ground. I mean, I can't imagine he brought it down here to take the picture. This is where the case is.
Yeah.
Maybe he brought it out from the wall to take the pictures or whatever, but there's lots of dust down in here. So this case is lacking some love. This PC is lacking some love. I feel like you need to sort of reevaluate your relationship with the computer.
Yeah, those aren't love stains.
And, you know, it looks like it's been doing work for you. I mean, you got an 8-core FX 8350 in there. You got a GTX 1070. The 8350, by the way, is holding that 1070 back to some degree. I mean, it's not terrible or anything, but you could get more frames out of it. But, you know, you got not a terrible system in here. I feel like it should be shown a little bit more love.
Yeah.
And beyond that, like, I mean, I don't want to nitpick stuff because there's just too many little details that could be fixed around in here.
Yep.
But, yeah. Go get a piece of sheet metal, start cutting yourself some new windows.
Or just buy a case with side panel.
New side panel, yeah.
Which is any case.
Any case.
Any case at all.
Right now, we'll have that.
All right, thanks, Fiffy. All right, that's going to conclude it for Pimp My PC. Thank you guys so much for submitting all those pictures. There were so many submissions that I had to sift through today, which I highly appreciate. So if you didn't get picked this week, don't fear. There will be another opportunity, plenty of more opportunities in the future. But for now, we can go ahead and move on to tech news. Let's talk about some of the trending stories in our little DIY PC community. First of which being the Radeon RX Vega. It had some of its 3D Mark Firestrike benchmarks leaked. Holy crap, this is from videocards.com.
Videocards.
And the listing on that they found doesn't say which RX Vega is being tested, so we don't know if this is a high-end Vega card or a low-end Vega card. But it got a GPU score in 3D Mark Firestrike of 22,330, which trails closely behind the GTX 1080, specifically MSI's GTX 1080 Gaming X, which was clocked at 1924 megahertz. So it doesn't look like that 1080 was overclocked. So it looks like a more or less like factory overclocked 1080 from an add-in board partner, but not super heavily overclocked, if at all. And then,
I mean, if this is average frequency, then that's a decent overclock.
Oh, factory, yeah. I'm just saying, like, they didn't try to push it, you know, past 2 gigahertz or to get 2.1 gigahertz or anything like that.
You can get over 2.
And the Radeon RX Vega is clocked at 1630 megahertz. We are unsure if the card was tested in gaming or silent mode. Obviously, gaming mode would probably increase the core clock a little bit at the expense of some acoustics.
I thought those didn't make a difference.
Oh, do they not? So what is it?
Didn't PC Perspective and Gamers Nexus test gaming mode versus not gaming mode, and there's basically the same thing? Like nothing changes.
Did they test it with our Radeon RX Vega?
That's true. That would be the Frontier Edition, which is the crossover workstation card. So I'm not sure if that would apply to this.
I'm surprised the Frontier Edition even has a gaming mode. Like,
well, it's supposed to, but I mean, it's supposed to be a driver thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah. So the Frontier Edition clock speed is 1440 megahertz and a boost clock of 1600. So this is running a little bit faster than that 1630.
Yeah. It's about 200 megahertz faster. And it's just barely behind the 1080. Like, no visible difference in performance, I would imagine.
200-300 points.
If you're gaming like with two of those systems side by side, the 1080 is probably going to give you the same amount of experiential performance as a Radeon RX Vega, which kind of explains why at the demo last week that we talked about, AMD had two systems side by side, one with the GTX 1080, the other with a Radeon RX Vega, and they weren't showing the frame counters or anything, but most of the people that were attending could not tell the difference between either system, which I guess if the 3D Mark Firestrike scores are this close on the GPU side, then probably makes sense.
Yeah, so I mean, to me that says, you know, obviously that's not the type of demo that you want to be showing people right before the GPU launches, just because you're trying to say, like, look, you can't really tell the difference, right?
Yeah.
Because what's probably going to happen is it's going to launch and people are going to test it and they're going to say, all right, the Vega is just a couple percentage points behind a 1080.
Yeah.
And if AMD prices it, reasonably, that'll be a good card for them and they can sell it and whatever. But it's not going to compete with the 1080 Ti apparently,
right? Based
on all this. And it's not going to be something that you can say, this beats a 1080 or a 1080 even.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'm sure there's obviously different tests and different things like that. So, I don't know. AMD's in a situation where they need to probably price Vega aggressively in order to compete with NVIDIA.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's definitely going to be a disappointment, although something that we've probably seen coming based on a lot of the rumors and speculation in the past couple months.
Yeah.
It's too bad that AMD, after so much time, isn't able to come out with something that is able to match or beat the 1080 Ti, which has been out for quite some time now on the NVIDIA side.
Or even the 1080. Again, like, if they sold it for less than the GTX 1070 or something like that, that would stick it to NVIDIA pretty hard. But I can't imagine them doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and that would cut... I think that would cut too much into their profit as far as how much they've invested in the development of Vega.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be something that is price competitive with the 1080. Probably around the same price or maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
Based on this again, and we don't know for sure yet. But
it's kind of a bummer because there was so much hype around Radeon RX Vega, and I mean, they made like a new logo for it and everything.
Yeah.
We were just like, oh my god, it's gonna be the greatest, most cutting edge, fastest GPU.
And there's different ways they might implement it as well. We haven't seen a dual GPU card from NVIDIA for a very long time, and that is a way that AMD has been able to say we have the fastest graphics card in the past, is because they made a dual GPU version of something, But
if they did dual Vega, though, that'd be pretty intense, though, because there's, it's 300 what? Is it 300 watt TDP that's speculated, or I don't know, but it's supposed to be a pretty high TDP, and it's known to get pretty hot. So
I want a dual Vega GPU that comes with a 240 millimeter all-in-one cooler attached to it. That's all you need. You get one of those at the bottom of your system for the graphics card, and then another one at the top for your CPU.
It'll go great with your 16-core Threadripper CPU that also needs a 240 millimeter IO baseline.
We're seeing
AMD's back at being hot again. AMD's so hot right now.
It's the beginning of another golden age of like jokes about computers being too hot. It's like, take like Vega and a 7900X and put them in the same system, and then make s'mores over them or something like that. I don't know. But
yes.
Yeah. Again, SIGGRAPH, which is next week. Yep. Is supposed to have the Vega launch, so hopefully we'll see more.
Yep. So guys, let us know in chat how much you would pay for a Radeon RX Vega if it was just ever so slightly slower than a GTX 1080. What do you think is a fair price? Let us know in chat. And then next up, we've got some news on Coffee Lake. This article comes from Tom's Hardware. And this is about some leaked benchmarks and specifications that you guys might be interested in. This is according to a...
More Sysoft Sandra...
Sysoft, yes. Sysoft official live ranker submission. There was an anonymous user who had apparently benchmarked a CPU that looked to be a hexa-core Coffee Lake CPU. And we're going to tell you exactly why they're so sure that it is indeed Coffee Lake. And I see a lot of you guys in chat saying anywhere from 350 for RX Vega to 450. There's a couple 500s in there, not many. 350 I think is that'd be pretty killer. 350 I think a lot of people would go for a GTX 1080 performance card more or less for that price.
I think the Vega not as fast Vega might be 350.
Yeah, the low end Vega for sure. Cool. All right, great. Someone said 750. Holy shit. All right, cool.
But hey, I mean, AMD doesn't have much of a competitive card at the $400 price point right now. So $400, $450.
Yeah, it's still going to be some of the market share they can pull from NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And I do think there is still a very strong argument to be made for an AMD GPU combined with a FreeSync monitor.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Because the access you have to like larger size, better refresh rate monitors with FreeSync compatibility for like $200-300 cheaper than the comparable NVIDIA monitor would be. You know, there's something to be said for that. So, yeah, I want
to get 2 RX Vegas I almost said this a lot, in Crossfire, and do some testing with that.
I'm sure that will happen.
I didn't say that out loud. All right, so this back to the Coffee Lake benchmarks. This was again SciSoft. There was a listing that someone had benchmarked this shit. It was listed as genuine Intel CPU 0000. Sounds very genuine. At 3.1 gigahertz, 6-core, 12-thread, 3.1 gigahertz, 4.2 gigahertz, 2.7. Just a bunch of freaking frequency numbers. This is what the actual listing said. It said CPU 000, which doesn't indicate Coffee Lake, but the fact that it's a 6-core, 12-thread part, which it does say, makes you a little bit curious. Like, maybe it is Coffee Lake. So Tom's Hardware did a little bit more investigation and found that under the computer device listing, that the video adapter was listed as Intel Coffee Lake UHD graphics. Boom! And the general processor was listed as Intel Coffee Lake mobile graphics. Which means it's
a smoking gun right there.
It's a smoking gun, man. It's probably genuine because it'd be pretty hard to fake the hardware IDs for the embedded GPU.
Obviously, that'd be hard. I mean, it's called hardware.
I've only tried it twice.
That's why it's called hardware.
It is. It's not easyware, bitches. All we know right now, apart from that, is that Coffee Lake is supposed to launch in the second half of 2017. That's this year. That means in the next few months. It could be a month or two from now. Coffee Lake will make its debut, and it's going to be built on the 3rd generation of 14nm or 14++ architecture. Tom Hardware's sources say that the launch is coming before the summer ends.
Well, that is fairly soon.
Feels like we're gonna have lots of content, no shortage of content to cover in the next coming months. So that's very exciting.
It appears that Intel can like put the foot on the gas when there's actually some competition.
Yeah, and actually somewhat seem like they're totally ready for it and not doing some premature launch bullshit. Next up, about Intel as well. Not all is super rosy over there at Intel. Their principal engineer just quit after 20 years invested into the company. This is an article from bittech.com. Their principal engineer, Francois, and Paul, in your great pronunciation wisdom, can help me pronounce his last name.
Pi D Noel.
Pi D Noel. You
just gotta sound it out. Pi
D Noel. I feel like that's a really bad pronunciation of his name. I feel like you're doing a horrible job right now. Really bad job.
Pied Noel.
But it's French, so like none of those. It's David Chow. Francois Piedner. That's the Asian way to say it.
It's horrible.
So let's just call him Francois. He joined Intel in 1997 as a principal engineer. And he has a quite impressive resume. He's got a lot of experience under his belt. He fathered the company's first dual-processor high-end desktop platform, Skull Trail. Solid. He launched the Extreme Edition brand. No big deal. Optimized performance on the Pentium 4 and aided engineering of the Katmai, Conroe, Penryn, and Nehalem CPU. Nehalem. I can never pronounce Nehalem.
Remember, like, a little town of Nehalem?
Little town of Nehalem. That's a good way to remember it. And Sandy Bridge to Skylake, Kaby Lake, Skylake X, and Atom SoC product families. Notice how they never mentioned that he ever worked on Kaby Lake X. Like, he's like, no, that's where I draw the line. What if Kaby Lake X is what made him quit?
That's probably he refused to take part in it, and that's why he's walking.
I will not be associated with the company that would produce this crappy technology. So he announced his resignation, and he assured people that he would not be moving to AMD, because that's everyone's first question. You're quitting? Are you going to AMD? You're joining the dark side, aren't you? You're joining Team Red, aren't you? He said, never! and I quote, "Never.
Never.
Because my knowledge about Intel is too deep. I would get lawyers knocking on my door next day. And I've worked with PC and CPU platforms for 20 years. It's time to do something different." I respect that. I respect that. It's a noble way to sort of sign off.
Probably painting.
Probably painting, or, you know, just Netflix and chilling with his wife or something like that. Who knows what the guy's doing? I mean, he could do whatever he wants. Whatever, it's fine. Intel, however, might have been surprised by this move because they have not issued any sort of public announcement that he has left the company.
Oh.
It's kind of confusing and sort of a question as to if he even notified them that he was resigning or if this kind of comes out of nowhere. And they declined to comment to bittech.com for this article. So I guess that just leaves us to wonder what Francois' next adventure will be. If not in CPU, processor, DIY, glorious fantasy land, what would Francois be doing? What do you think he's going to be doing? What do you think he's going to do now?
I was hoping that there would be like a
dream sequence.
Yeah, dream sequence that would fade to and everything.
Francois dancing.
Why don't we have a showrunner who has
I don't know
thought of that beforehand?
Because we suck. We're a small, stupid show.
We have the thought though.
No one likes it.
You guys can all imagine how that would be, right?
Yeah, of course.
Super cool.
Our special effects relies on your imagination.
Yep. That's all we need.
So, kudos to you, Francois. Thank you for all the work you've done at Intel. And we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavor, whatever it may be. So, and hopefully Intel's not shooting a brick right now. It's like, oh, fuck. We're already in the hole. There's even more so now. Let's talk about Threadripper, shall we?
We shall.
More specifically, not about its specs, not about how it's going to change the landscape of our industry, but what kind of box it comes in. Because that's the important stuff.
Retail
AMD
packaging.
Recently unveiled Threadripper's retail packaging.
There it is.
And it is incredible.
Look at that.
Just look at it. Just look at it. It's kind of got, as the article says, it's kind of got like the Eye of Sauron thing going on.
This
you
looks
see
like
the Ryzen in the background.
This looks like closed cell foam.
It does. Yeah, it's very... And I think there might be a picture in this article of Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, holding it at her side. So Lisa Su for scale, everyone. It's a large box. This is the largest CPU box I have ever seen.
She's actually close to 8 feet tall, so it is smaller than you might imagine.
Fun fact: Lisa Su used to be a MMA champion fighter, but that was after she quit the NBA as a professional.
She was second in line to play Brienne of Tarth behind Gwendolyn Christie in Game of Thrones.
Yep. She makes a cameo in the last episode of Game of Thrones that I've heard where she kills Brienne of Tarth.
What? Spoilers, Kyle. Come on.
Damn it!
Right. Obviously, most of the past few statements we've just said have been made up. But hey, look at this motherboard. We're gonna be debating. We'll be debating this design for the retail box of the Threadripper processors on my half of the show.
Yes, we will.
It's gonna be glorious.
Yes, it will.
So for now, gaze upon its wonder and wonder.
It looks like an old TV.
And wonder how you open it up and get inside.
I can tell. There's already like some.
Don't be spoiling.
It looks like just comes off. It's
don't
like
talk
split in
about
half
what
right there. You can see the little where it divides.
You can
see how the foam's cut into two pieces.
That's what we're arguing.
Oh,
we're gonna argue what it looks like.
Oh, gotcha. I see. This is the amount of show prep we do.
Good.
The show prep we do is like live during the show.
Yeah, with things whispered. Shh, it's gonna be a secret. Why do we do that?
It's so an act, right? You're gonna act surprised. Okay.
Pretend to be mad at me. Pretend to be mad.
Punch me, but don't really punch me.
Yeah. The old standby.
All right, last article here. Intel Core i9 7920X. This is the 12-core behemoth, 24-thread part from the high-end desktop platform from Intel. This is the one that has not been released. One of the 4 CPUs, I believe, that has not been released yet in the X series.
Only 6 cores short of the one that they announced in June at Computex.
Indeed. 6 cores short.
When we were like, really? You're having 18 core CPUs right now? They're like, no, actually, it's only up to 10 right now.
Yeah. We haven't worked out the rest of that.
But we said 18.
Yeah.
All right, so now they have 12 core.
So yeah, so there's 12 core here,
cool.
which immediately makes you want to position this against the 1920X from AMD, the Threadripper 1920X, which is also a 12-core, 24-thread part. So you kind of have these two seemingly equivalent CPUs, there you go, with a boost up to 4.0 gigahertz. Same as the 7920, apparently, is also 4 gigahertz. There's a lot of parallels here. Except the Intel version will actually retail for quite a bit more, $1,200. Around $1,200 as opposed to what, $800 for the 1920X Threadripper.
1920X supposed to be $800.
So same core and thread count, pretty much the same boost clock all around, but you have a but one of them is $400 cheaper. AMD's Threadripper is $400 cheaper. Of course, we're going to have to wait till the benchmarks and stuff come out and we do our reviews.
AMD's also has 20 more PCI Express lanes.
AMD's has 20 more PCI Express lanes, but here's one downfall to the 1920X, is that it is hotter. I'm guessing, I'm going to say it right, I'm going to call it right now,
it's
Paul.
180 watt TDP.
180 watt TDP versus 140 watt on the 7920X. So I'm guessing you're going to need a more substantial or more robust CPU cooler for Threadripper than you will for this particular Intel chip.
Maybe liquid cooling?
Maybe liquid cooling, perhaps. Who knows?
That would be interesting.
Absolutely. But things are getting really exciting because we have all this information. It's leaking out by the day. Every day we get a little bit more information about both camps. And it just seems like right now AMD has the better pricing. They have the better pricing. And we know the pricing for the most part. We know the specs, but we just don't know the performance. So the question here is the 7920X going to be able to outperform the is the performance going to be worth the $400 premium over the Threadripper 12-core equivalent? It's hard to say right now, of course. But things are interesting.
Will it be worth it over the 16-core Threadripper that you should be able to get for $1,000?
Yep.
$200 cheaper than this 12-core part.
That's very true. And I think what's crazy here is that for the first time, maybe ever, AMD's finally competing with Intel in the high-end desktop platform, because for a long time, for almost a decade, they weren't even competing with Intel in regards to the mainstream platform. And then Ryzen finally came along and is awesome. I mean, Ryzen is just an amazing alternative for the mainstream. But still, AMD didn't really have anything to show for its high-end platform until now. And so Threadripper is a big deal because it still marks this this huge stepping stone in AMD's competitiveness.
The last time AMD, outside of Opteron, not referring to Opteron here and the server side, but the last time AMD had a $1,000 CPU that was competitive and beating Intel at the same price was the original FX series, like the FX60 and the FX62, original AMD dual-core CPUs. When they really took Intel kind of to task in like 2005, 2006, 2007, and that's what actually spurred Intel to kick off the TikTok update cycle that they started doing after about 2007, 2008, and they kept doing that for like 8-10 years, and they kind of like squashed AMD with it, but now AMD is finally back. So yeah, cool. I think it's good for everyone.
It's a fantastic. It's crazy to see how far AMD's come now with this in the CPU, the mainstream and high-end CPU desktop market. It's very exciting. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Intel might be in trouble, not just in their mainstream, but their high-end desktop platform as well. But for now,
just one final comment there.
Yeah.
All Intel needs to do is just revamp their entire pricing scale.
Yeah, they just need to lower the prices.
I've heard people say, like, oh, Intel processors are shit. They're not shit. They don't suck. They're not just bad.
Overpriced.
They're just more expensive than what AMD is now offering. So you can get the same amount or more performance for less money. They're still good processors. They're still completely functional. They're just way overpriced compared to AMD. So
the question is Intel going to budge? Are they going to be like, no, we're an established brand. We've been around, like we've been crushing our only competitor for the last 10 years. And even at the rates the outlandish rates we're charging, there's still going to be a large number of people that are going to pay $1,200 for one of our 12-core CPUs, even if there's a cheaper alternative elsewhere.
But what'll change their mind is just actual sales numbers. Once the sales numbers come in, for the third and fourth quarter of this year, if Intel is really hurting when it comes to how many processors they're selling, you will you'll see pricing changes.
So really, it's a matter of like, is Intel hurting enough right now? Are they hurting enough as it is to the point where they're so concerned about their sales for their next wave of Core X series CPUs that they're going to drastically lower the prices to be more competitive with AMD's offerings? Or if they're going to be like, no, we're still making hella bank. We don't even care if we take a loss on the enthusiast grade CPUs that we're launching. We're still going to charge this amount, our original amount, because we know there will be some people out there who buy them still. We don't know. We don't know exactly. Time will tell. It's all up in the air, people. We don't know anything.
It's rumor and speculation.
We're all alone in this world.
All right.
Dark and evil. Let's do some donations.
Let's do some donation questions. Thanks to all you guys who have donated. Thanks to Cell, our moderator, for moderating.
Cell's
of course,
the best.
He's always awesome, and he's been
Cell.
collecting the donations, so we can actually read them off to you.
Indeed.
We're going to try to go through these quickly.
Yes.
So first off is Automatic Matt with a $10 donation.
Yep.
He said, off to work to get my bro a $340 DirectX Racer chair.
DirectX.
DX.
Did you say DirectX?
I said DirectX DX
Was that
Racer.
a joke, or did you just do it instinctively?
I said it automatically. I didn't even mean to.
Did you
The
say Automatic
$340 DirectX Racer chair. Am I a good brother yet? Also go easy on Kyle and Paul, Fred. Please split this. All right. Thanks, Matt. Yes, you're a very good brother if you're buying your $350 chair.
Yeah.
Luke, not LaFrenray, $5. Bark twice if you have vids prepped for Thursday. Luke, not bark.
Oh, I barked 3 times. What does that mean?
Bark.
Does that mean that like I'm extra prepped or that I'm not prepped at all? You'll never know until Thursday.
Probably less prepped than I should be.
Me too.
Scott Dillbeck, 666. Chug, cough, cough. Paul's Hardware versus Bitwit build off.
A build off.
It'd be challenging. It's a challenging.
We should do a build off. Let's do a build off.
So you can build it better. El Jefe Reviews, $5. What's up, fellas? What are your thoughts on Potato Edition of Pimp My PC? Salute from El Jefe.
I'm for it. I like potato PCs, and we'll definitely do that eventually.
All right, cool.
Let's do it.
Kyle's in charge of that, too,
Yep.
so that's a good that he liked it. Buffalo Warrior 7, $5.55. Missed last week, but back again with a delicious oak-aged raspberry sour from Avery.
Ooh, nice.
Cheers to the Avery Brown, Kyle. Hey, you guys like both going to town on that brewer.
Heck yeah.
Favorite music artist, and former and current.
Ooh.
Former and current. Former, Pearl Jam, current, Tycho.
Ooh, okay. Former, Radiohead. Current, Radiohead.
Well then. All right. iManny99, $5. Hey guys, Kyle, can you do an update on the 1700 versus 7700K for streaming video with a third graph showing R7 1700 with SMT off? Hey, iManny99, I don't know if you've seen it, but Gamers Nexus did a very, very good article and video on this recently. We're actually going to be going over it on my half of the show. So there's that. But also, Kyle, you should do that too.
I'm just going to point to Gamers Nexus.
Or Gamers Nexus.
It's going to be better automatically. Just watch Gamers Nexus.
It's interesting. It's a new realm of benchmarking, so it's cool to see different people take it on. Pup Shepherd, $5. Hey, Paul, Kyle, when YouTube syncs, have you thought about working as a consultant for media production? I have not. P.S. I made a film, Nori sketch, on my channel. Pup, I'm gonna watch that. I have a slew of feelings right now. And I won't go into detail about it, but I'm gonna
Your first name is Pup, and clearly you know you have some sort of talent with dogs. There's a Nori sketch on your channel. I'm guessing it's gonna be amazing.
It's gonna be great.
Yep.
Matthew Deal, $5. Don't worry, Paul. My fiance calls Onyx Oinks. Oinks too. Oinks. The Oinks dragon.
Don't enable him!
It makes sense.
Discourage the Oinixers.
It's an easier way to
You're an Oinixer. You're a dirty Oinixer.
Wittis K, $10 Canadian. To make it fair, this week is Kyle's turn, since last week I donated to Paul. Quick question. Upgrade GPU and memory for Ryzen 1070 versus 2133 megahertz workstation mostly. You guys are awesome as always.
Upgrade your memory.
Memory, you definitely want fast memory with Ryzen. 3000 is what I aim for, or 2933. Get up to 3200 if you can. And the performance, especially if you're looking at gaming, scales up with it. After that, look at a graphics card.
Yep.
Holiday Gamer, £10. Have either of you used the Asus TUF Z270 motherboard? If so, I have a question. I want to use an M.2 drive, but I would like to know if it will stop me using one of the slots where the graphics card go, etc. Holiday gamer, you should be okay with that.
As long as the CPU is, you know, your CPU, any CPU you put in a Z270 board should be fine.
Yeah, your Z270 board should. I mean, Asus has very sensible designers, and so you should have a direct from the PCH or direct from the chipset connection for an M.2 drive, which shouldn't affect your connectivity for your standard PCIe lanes. You might want to double check that on the Asus website, but I know Asus pretty well, and that's how they would design it sensibly. There might be a second one that might conflict, but I don't know the board well enough to say that off the top of my head.
I don't either.
Levi V, $5. Building a small form factor PC. I have an extra 500 gig Samsung T3 USB 3.0 external SSD. Can I use it as my OS drive to save money? Connect it internally via USB 3.0. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
As long as the USB connection that you're plugging it into is native, in which case, if it's not, you might need to install a driver, just like you would with the SATA drive. But yeah, you should be able to do that. Alright, Checker Tile, LOL, $5. Will you guys be releasing a Ryzen 3 build soon? Liquid Cooler Pro. Yes, and that makes less sense with Ryzen 3.
Yeah, a little bit.
To be honest.
Yeah.
If you're gonna spend,
it's gonna be more than the chip itself.
If you're gonna spend the money you would spend on liquid cooling, like upgrade your chip.
Yeah.
Get a Ryzen 5 or something like that. Just being honest.
My Ryzen 3 build's already up on Ultra.
Oh yeah, you cheated.
I cheated.
Holt Hamlet, $5 donation. No comment. So thanks for the $5.
Yeah.
Scott Dilbeck, $6.66. Mark of the Beast. Do you think I would get significant performance gain switching to a 1080 over my crossfired Strix RX 480s? I give in 1440p, 144 Hz.
Not really.
And on my 4K TV.
Not really.
Yeah, those are kind of comparable. It would depend on the game. If you have a game with poor scaling, then yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally depends on the game that you're playing.
Yeah.
Games with good scaling, no.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Divi Chow!
Divi Chow!
$10. I'm still pretty suck to custom cooling. Don't know what that means. I don't have much idea what I'm doing with the A240G. Oh, the EK liquid cooler. It'll be done though. Trying to get it installed today and do a 24-hour pump run for leaks here. Beer.
Thank you, Stevie.
Thank you, Stevie. Cheers. And yeah, just watch water cooling videos.
Watch Jay's channel.
Yeah, watch.
Just binge on Jay's channel.
Lots of those. Jay went over the EK all-in-one things.
I didn't too.
I still haven't. I'm terrible. Serdma Studios, $5. It looks like the Eye of Sauron. Call it the Eye of Ryzen.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is.
Don't answer. More on that on my side of the show.
Of course.
Thanks, Serdna. Hey, it's me. $10. How will current CPU coolers work with Threadripper? The thing is huge. It doesn't seem that current coolers will be able to cover the whole thing. No, they won't. You will need a new cooler. You will not be able to use the same cooler. Any of the existing coolers for a Threadripper. They need completely new designs.
Yep. Rick Sanchez.
I have a feeling it's not even the type of thing where it's like, here's a new bracket for your existing cooler. None of that.
No.
You need a completely
specific
new cooler that has more coverage and everything.
Yeah. Bigger base plate and all that.
Rick Sanchez.
Rick Sanchez for the 5 British pounds. Ryzen was a killer. The Threadripper box looks like an amber ring from Jurassic Park.
Again,
you have this option. Depicts a buried treasure to come. Wobbalobadoob.
Wobbalabadab. Wobbalabadab.
Is that a word?
It says wobbalabadab.
Wobbalabadub?
Wobbalabadab.
Is that a word?
I don't know, but I'm just saying that's what it says.
Wobbalabadab.
It's wobbalabadab.
All right, wobbalabadab to you, sir. Thank you very much. And
Thorn Pierce.
Thorn Pierce is $5. Kyle, sometimes you play metal music during your benchmark slideshows. What kind of metal do you like? Favorite bands? Geez, favorite metal bands? Well, Between the Buried and Me was one of my favorites for a very long time. I also liked Avenged Sevenfold way back in the day. I don't know if I consider them super metal though. Let's see.
Cradle of Filth.
Cradle of Filth is pretty epic. Man, I'm forgetting all of the big ones that I used to listen to. You used to listen to metal at some point, didn't you?
I don't claim to be metal or anything like that.
Neither do I.
If I had to call out a metal band that I know the most and familiar with the most of their music, it'd be Megadeth.
Megadeth. Yes.
Countdown to Extinction.
There's another one I forget the name of, but yeah. Sorry, I can't give you more insight on that.
Right.
But
okay,
I think that's the last of our.
That is
donations.
the last of the donations. Thanks to you guys who donated. We'll do those again on My Half of the Show if you happen to donate now. We have a few orders that came in. Nick, Big Johnson to you. Thank you, Nick, for getting the Thumbscrew Gray logo shirt. Also, Batman. Like
Batman.
Batman got a 0 insertion force shirt. Thank you, Batman. That's awesome.
It's 2 words.
I hope that
I hope
that charge process is okay, but that's 2 words. First name Bat, last name Man. That's awesome. Patrick from New York, thank you so much for getting the Thumbscrew decal. The decal, of course, very popular. Daniel from Colorado, thank you for grabbing that Thumbscrew shirt as well. And one more from Christopher from California. Also got the Thumbscrew shirt. Thank you so much, Christopher. Much obliged for the support.
Wait,
hope you enjoy the merch.
A lot of orders.
Is it all? It's all.
No, they're not. I don't think they're all fidget spinners, but
really?
there's several.
Okay.
So Cameron Johnson to you, sir. Thank you for picking up a CPU cooler shirt. We've also got one from Donovan for picking up a fidget spinner. Thank you, sir. You're one of 100. And Harrison for also picking up a fidget spinner. Johnson to you, Harrison. One from Jonathan for picking up Words in the Circle. You got some pint glasses.
Pint glasses.
Or yeah, some pint glasses and a fidget spinner. And how are the fidget spinners actually selling? I did it as an ironic joke, not thinking that they would actually sell, and people are buying them. Daniel, fidget spinner. Thank you, sir. Also got one from Patrick, fidget spinner.
I knew I should have sold fidget spinners.
Dude, you still can. There's still time, Paul.
There's still time.
You have the perfect logo that would fit on a fidget spinner too.
That's true.
Just put the thumb screw on there. Fidget spinner for Andrew Johnson to you, sir. We got one from Christopher for picking up a CPU cooler, a BioSlasher shirt. Nice to see that you haven't picked up, and a fidget spinner. Jesus Christ. And then we've got a couple more here from Heather, not my wife. CPU cooler shirt. Thank you very much, Heather Johnson to you. Sounds kind of wrong saying it to a girl.
It does.
Zachary, thank you very much for picking up a fidget spinner. Seth for picking up an Evolution shirt and a fidget spinner. We've also got one from Vincent, fidget spinner. If all my fidget spinners go out of stock right now. Batman! Double Johnson!
It's Double Johnson.
So I picked up pint glasses and fidget spinner. Even Batman needs a fidget spinner.
Batman got a fidget spinner?
Nathaniel for picking up a CPU cooler and some glasses. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for not picking up a fidget spinner. Then we've got one from Madison picking up a Bitwit shirt and a fidget spinner. And then I swear we only have like 5 more left.
I'm going to get more beer.
Jared, yes, please do. Reading. Jared Johnson to you for picking up a CPU cooler shirt. Thank you, sir. We've got one from Scott, CPU cooler shirt, Evolution as well. Yes, we've got one from Ryan, CPU cooler and Stay Positive shirts. Thank you. Stock depleted. I'm getting all these notifications as you guys are buying. Stock depleted. Stock depleted. Stock depleted. Thanks. Thanks, guys. Now I have to re-up all this shit. Armando for picking up a Stay Positive shirt. We've got one from Ken Johnson to you, sir, for picking up an Evolution shirt. Oh, my God. One from Riley. Riley picking up a fidget spinner, Riley. And then we've got a Johnson to Reese Lyon. Thank you very much for picking up a Stay Positive shirt. 2 more. I swear. 2 more. Daniel. I think that's a Double Johnson for Daniel. BioSlasher shirt. And finally, we've got one from Christopher for picking up a Stay Positive Tri-Blend t-shirt in medium. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Awesome Hardware, this side of Awesome Hardware. Don't go anywhere because Awesome Hardware will be right back in just a moment. We're actually going to be streaming to Paul's channel. If you guys haven't checked it out yet, you can find the link in my YouTube video description, or you can just go to youtube.com/paulshardware to watch the rest of this fantastic episode. Thank you guys so much for joining us. There's still more to come, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Like the video. Like the video if you're on YouTube.
Thumbs up.
Timestamps, if anyone wants to do timestamps for me in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
I love you for life. It's the best thing ever. You're saving me so much time and resources. I appreciate it. I love you guys. We'll see you in a second.